Hi guys, this is Vineet, and in this video we'll discuss about how you can restore corrupt pages inside SQL Server. So let's go ahead, and before we proceed ahead, I would request you all guys to please subscribe to my channel and select all notifications to get notifications regarding my all future videos. And there are some points which I want you guys to remember while watching this video. Please watch this video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept, and if possible for you, please watch this video twice and perform the exercises in the lab environment. And I would also like to know your thoughts regarding our videos, so please share your comments. Alright, let's go back to the topic, which is how you can restore the corrupt pages inside SQL Server. So let's go to some theory part inside that. Let's quickly go to that theory part. Okay, so there will be a demo on how you can restore the corrupt pages, and let's discuss some of the few key points. So what is the goal of page restore? Its goal is basically to restore one or more damaged pages. Sorry. So the goal of page restore is to restore one or more damaged pages without restoring the whole database. So if we do a page restore, it just restores the page and doesn't restore the whole database. And pages that are candidates for restore have been marked as suspect. There's a table which mark those pages as suspect, which are corrupt. Because of an error that is encountered when accessing a page, I will show you which table to query. So the table name is suspected pages in the MSDB database. So right now, if we go inside SQL Server and try to take a look, so if I do, let me close one instance. There are multiple instances open. So yeah, let's concentrate on this. So let's do a command, select star from, and MSDB is the database name. Suspected pages or suspect pages, I don't know. Let's check suspected one. So no suspected, but suspect pages. Let's execute that. So you see two rows over there. So let's clear this table out and delete from to start from scratch. So let's start with a clean slate. So there are no suspected pages or there are no corrupt pages in the system at the present. And let's go ahead and go back to the notes. So I was just showing you what is the pages that holds information about any corrupt pages. And a page restore is intended for repairing isolated damaged pages, and restoring and recovering a few individual pages might be easier rather than performing the whole restore operation. And if you have to restore more than few pages in a file, it is generally more efficient to restore the whole file. So page restore is done in the situation where we want to restore just one or two pages. So if we have like 100 of pages to restore, it's better to restore a complete file instead to do an individual page restoration. And it's giving an example: if there are lots of pages on a device indicate a pending device failure, consider restoring a file and possibly to another location and repairing the device. Not all page error requires a restore. A problem can occur in cache data, such as secondary index, that can be resolved by calculating the data. So sometimes we perform the dbcc command to repair the database instead of performing a page restore. Sometimes issue is there in the cache data, not on the actual data on the file. For example, if a database administrator drops a secondary index and rebuilds it, the corrupted data, although fixed, is not indicated as such in the suspected pages table. Now page restore is applied to full or bulk log recovery model. So we need to be sure that our database is under the full or bulk log recovery model. So let's quickly check the recovery model for this Northwind database, which I think should be a full. So under options, you can check that information. So it is using a full recovery model. So let's go back to the notes. It is only supported for read-write file groups. So for read-only file groups, it doesn't support the page restore operations. So all our file groups are read-write file groups. So we can check that as well. The file structure we can check inside the files. So both files are read-write files and not are read-only files. Data can be written to any of the file groups. All right, let's go back and continue with the notes. So the page restore is supported only for read-write file groups, and only database pages can be restored, and page restore cannot be used to restore transaction logs. So only database pages can be restored and not the transaction log allocation pages. And page restore cannot be used to restore the transaction logs and allocation pages. Page 0 of all data files, which is the file boot page. So page 0 cannot be restored. And page 19, the database boot page, this cannot be restored as well. This is a database boot page and this is a file boot page. And full text catalogs cannot be restored. Under those circumstances, page restore cannot be performed. There's a good book on doing backups and restores on SQL Server. So this is the one from A-Press, beginning backup and restore from SQL Server. I will post the link on my description of this video, and you can check this book out and see if this is useful for you. Now let's continue ahead and let's go to the next point. So backing up file group or page data is offline is problematic for birth lock data. So problems occur when some file group or page data is offline or problematic. Backup cannot be performed easily because the offline data is not recorded in the log. Any offline page can prevent backing up the log. In these cases, consider using dbcc repair command can be used. So there can be situations where you see you are not able to perform a backup in the case of bulk log recovery model. So in the case of bulk log recovery model, the data is not recorded on the log file and therefore backup is not possible. So any of the offline pages can prevent backing up the log, and in those cases we can consider using the dbcc repair option. And because this might cause let data loss, then restoring to the most recent backup. Now, if the log backup of a bulk log database encounters a bad page, it fails with it fails. So we are talking about the bulk log database. So if there is a bad page inside that bulk log database, and we are taking a transaction log backup, and during that transaction log backup, it encounters that there is a bad page inside the bulk log database, it fails. We will not be able to take the transaction log backup of that database with the bad data page, and it fails unless we use the with continue after error option. If this option is not specified, it fails. And page restore generally does not work with bulk log recovery. As a best practice, consider setting up a database to a full recovery model and then try a log backup. If a log backup works, we can continue with the page restore. In case log backup fails, we either have to lose work since the previous log backup, or we have to try running dbcc with the repair allow data loss option. So we as a different practice or as a better practice, we can set up a database with a full recovery model, then we can try a log backup, and if log backup works, we can continue with the page restore operation. And in case the log backup fails, we can either have to lose work since the previous log backup, or we have to try running the dbcc with the repair allow data loss options. Now let's talk about the two types of restore. One is the offline page restore and the another one is online page restore. So offline page restore is supported by all editions of SQL Server to restore pages when database is offline. Database remains offline while the damaged pages are restored. At the end of the restore sequence, the database comes online. So this is the offline page restore. And let's talk about the online page restore. So in online page restore, database remains online while performing the restore operation. And it is supported only by the enterprise edition of SQL Server. In most cases, a damaged page can be restored while the database remains online, including the file group to which a page is being restored. When the primary file group is online, even if one of more of its secondary file group are offline, page restore are usually performed online. Occasionally, however, a damaged page can require a offline restore. For example, damage to certain critical pages might prevent database from starting. So in those scenarios, an offline restore is required. And if a damaged database page stores the critical database metadata, so in those scenarios, required updates to metadata might fail during an online page restore attempt. Let's go through this point once. So if a damaged page if a damaged page stores the critical database metadata or critical database information, required updates to metadata might fail during an online page restore attempt. In that case, we can perform an offline page restore, but you must first take a tail log backup. So if we are doing a offline page restore, then there's a requirement to take a tail log backup initially before performing a restore operation. In our scenario, we are doing an online restore, so we will not take a tail log backup. And page restore can utilize improved page level error reporting, including page checksums and tracking. Pages that are detected as corrupted by checksumming or a torn write damaged pages can be restored by a page restore operation. Only explicitly specified pages are restored. Each specified page is replaced by a copy of that page from the specified data backup. And when you restore subsequent log backups, they are applied only to database files that contain at least one page that is being recovered. So after you perform a page restore and when you apply any subsequent log backups or restore subsequent log backups, they are applied only to a database file that contains at least one page that is being recovered. The unbroken chain of log backups must be applied to the last full or differential restore to bring the file group that contains the page forward to the current log file. Alright, so let's perform a practical. Here we will do a online page restore. So we are using a Northwind database. So there's a customer tables inside it. So let's wait for it to fully open. It's kind of stuck at the moment. Give it a minute. Yeah, it's ready. So if we do select star from customers over here, so there's a customers tables in that Northwind database. So right now we see it's outputting 91 rows without giving us any errors under the messages. Now let me corrupt that table. I will not show you how I'm corrupting the table, but yeah, I will definitely show you how we can recover from such situations. So I'm pausing the video for a minute. In the meantime, I'm corrupting this table. Alright guys, I've corrupted that customers table. So right now if I run a query against that database, against the customers table, I will get a page level error. So let's wait for a minute. Meanwhile it comes. So let me type a query, which is select star from customers. So when I execute this query, I will get an error now. I do get the result. I'm getting the result. I got like 15 rows, although there were 91 rows. and I immediately got the message that there's a corruption somewhere. There's a corruption, so it is mentioning page file 1, page 388 is corrupt. So it is specifying the file name as well. So the similar information can be obtained by running that dbcc checkdb command as well. So let's see how to come out of this situation where this particular page is corrupt. Earlier we were discussing about the database, which was msdb, and suspect pages was the table name. So let's check. Now it will give us the information like as we got the error, as we have detected an error. So right now execute a statement. Let's see, an output will occur in few seconds. It's stuck at present, waiting for it to come out. So okay, let's try that. So you see, we got an entry, file ID 1 and page ID is 388, which is corrupt, and it encountered an error 1 at particular what timestamp is given. Alright, and again if I select content from customer, it will again give us that error. So there's a page error inside that database. So now let's close out this file. Let me show you how you can perform an online restore. So right now if you see, the database is online, it went to the single user mode. Let me take it back to multi-user mode. You can take it through the options sections. So let's go back and set it to multi-user mode. Yes. But as far as database is concerned, it is online, and I can select data from one of the other tables as well. So apart from customer, I can select data from categories, which will come out just fine. So we have just corrupted that customers table, and let's see how you can perform a restore. Database is online, so this will be an online restore. So if you are doing an online restore, there is no need to take a tail log backup. So let me do a corrupted page restoration. So we should be inside the master database, not inside the Northwind database. And the first restore we are performing is page restore. And the syntax is restore database name, which is Northwind, and the page information, which is 388 page on the first file. And this is the file ID. And we are restoring it from disk. Okay, I think let's try that if I have a backup of that file, if it works. Because we haven't taken backup before corrupting that database. Let's try if this works. So I have a copy of Northwind backup which I had taken earlier. Let's see if that works. I'm gonna put that in backup folder. Let's try that. So we are in the master database. Let's try to restore the page 1388 from file number 1. The backup is this Northwind .bak file. Let's try to restore it. So page is restored. Now what we will do, the page is restored, the 1388 page is restored. Now what we will do after that, we will take a backup of transaction log once again, and we will try to restore that log. So let's take a backup of log, which is done, and we are restoring the log file. So now this is giving us issues because we had to take the database backups. Now let me start it from scratch. Let's drop this database altogether. Let's delete that database. We'll perform the operation from scratch. Taking time to delete. Let's see. I'm pausing this video. In the meantime, it's dropping the database. So drop has failed. Let me try try to close an existing connection to a database, and let's try it again. Now database is dropped, you can see. Let's restore this database from the backup file I have. So I will choose the device, and I had an earlier backup of this Northwind database file. Let's take that and restore the database. So let's restore the database quickly. And the database is restored. Let's check the customers table, which should be fine. So right now the table is fine. So we will start the procedure from scratch. Now we have a Northwind database, and we have a database backup, two database backup files, one is log backup file. Let's remove these files and take a new backup from scratch. So what we will do, we will right click the database, go to task, and take a backup, which will be a full backup of this database. We are taking full database backup under this file at this location. So do OK. Now the database backup is created. Now we will corrupt this customers table inside that file. So I'm pausing this video for a minute. So guys, I've corrupted the customers table inside the database. So if I do select star from customer, it will throw us a page error. So let's do a select star from customers. Execute this statement. Now it is giving us a page error, and it will give us the page location as well, 1388, as encountered earlier. Now let's do a restore of a page operation. So let me open up my, we'll do a page restoration. So we should be inside the master database. Let's wait for query to open. So should be inside the master database. Let's restore the database page 1388. I think with file one option is not required, so let's try to execute first two statements to restore the page 1388. Syntax is restore database name, and you need to specify the page option with equal to marks, and you give the file ID and the page ID. Let's just execute these two lines. So yeah, page is restored, so this option is not required in this scenario. Now a successful page restore is done. Now let's try to back up the log file, and this will be backup in this file name. You can change the file name as per your expectations or as per your naming conventions. Let's back up the log, then let's restore the same log file which we have just back up. So page restore process is done. Let's close this. We see we have an additional file, which was the log backup. And let's try to fetch the data from customers table. Now we will not get any page faults when we try to fetch data from the customers database. Okay, let's do select star from customers. Alright, so it is yielding us 91 rows without giving us any error messages over here. So we have performed a successful page restore operation. A similar operation can be performed from the GUI interface as well. So under that, you need to go to task and do a restore, and there's a page option which helps you in performing a page restore. So it is asking us to take a transaction log backup before performing a page restore. So in those scenarios, you need to take the transaction log backup first before you can perform a page restore. So same thing can be performed using a page restore option as well. So let's take a transaction log backup. Let's do a transaction log backup. So backup. Let's do a backup of transaction log. So let's remove this file and add a new file. Transaction log backup, and put today's date. What is today's date? So 02/13/2023. We are taking a transaction log backup. So let's do OK. So we are taking a transaction log backup and truncating the whole transaction log. So transaction log backup is done. So this is a transaction log backup we have in addition to the database backup we had taken earlier. And now same thing can be performed using the restore option, and we can restore a page. And this will open up a dialog box. So you can specify the same options over there which you had given in the T-SQL mode. So here you can specify the database which you are restoring, in our case Northwind. Here you can specify the file ID and page ID which are corrupt. So you can check for those. If the information doesn't populate automatically, you can specify information like file ID and the page ID. And below is the grid. Now it will take a tail log backup before doing a restore. So here it specifies the tail log backup file name in which it will take tail log backup. And apart from that, what it will do, it will perform a page restore, and it is giving us a sequence which all files it will try to restore. So first it will restore a full database. It will restore a page from a full database backup. So below is the grid for the backup sets. So it will restore this particular page from a database file, and then it will take the transaction log backup, and then it will restore the transaction log backup. So same thing can be performed by we can verify it as well, and we can perform the same operation by after clicking OK. It will perform a page restore. But yeah, right now our database is or the table is not corrupt at the moment. So if we just take a look at customers table, it should be fine, as we had performed a successful page restore using the T-SQL mode. But yeah, the same thing can be performed by using the GUI mode as well. So if we do a select star from customers, the table name is fine at the moment. So we are not using graphical mode here. So T-SQL mode is fine for us for this video. In case you need me to show you how you can perform a page restore using a graphical mode, please do comment on this video. I will create a separate video for GUI mode as well. So guys, I thank you so much for your time. Please go through the content, go through this video once more, go through the textual part of this video, and go through the practical stuff as well. And be sure to check out this book. This book is nice for performing backup and restores inside SQL Server. And please do subscribe to my channel. Hit on the bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding my future videos. I hope you like this video. You have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.